Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up, and welcome back to another edition of Mike on Sports. I am your host. I go by the name of Mike Grouse. Big ups to that 501-317 Little Rock, Indianapolis. We are in the building. And, man, the list is out. The list is out. The NBA All-Decade Team, baby. Oh, yes, sir. We going to get into it. We definitely going to get into it and talk about this shit because, I might agree with it. You know what I'm saying? I might agree with some of these names on here. I might agree with you know what I'm saying. Look at the first team. Starting with the first team, you gotta admit this decade it was hard for me. You know what I'm saying? It was hard for me. I was thinking about what Chris Paul was able to accomplish this decade with the Hornets, with the Clippers, with the Rockets, with the Thunder. Chris Paul has been like the prototypical point guard. You know what I'm saying, for the past 10 years. You know what I'm saying? He's been very very good. But when you thinking about point guards, you think about this decade, you got two names come to mind. Two names come to mind. You know what I'm saying? It's like Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry. I mean, you can sprinkle a little bit of Dame Lillard in there too if you want to, but those two guys come to my mind. Those two guys have been the best two-point guards this decade. I think Steph Curry can edge out Russell Westbrook, seeing that he has a couple of MVP awards, has a couple rings, and he deserves to be on the first team. I mean, no slight towards Steph. I mean Russell Westbrook, but Steph Curry has done a little bit more with his time, and those two MVPs really know what I'm saying carry weight. At shooting guard for the first team, we got James Harden, probably the best scorer we've seen since. Oh man, I mean this guy can put the ball in a bucket in a multitude of ways. Free throw line, floaters, layups, step back jump shots, mid range jumpers, whatever you want, man. James Harden can give you. Draw the foul, uh, just an all around explosive weapon on the offensive end. Looking at Kevin Durant as LeBron James. That goes without saying, man. I think we all expected LeBron James to be on this team. He has been the face of the NBA ever since he got in the league. Well, not ever since, but ever since the 2010 turn of the century. You know what I'm saying? I think he's been the face of the NBA. What he does on a daily basis, nightly basis, yearly basis is second to none. 17 years in the league and he's still going strong. Kevin Durant, most prolific scorer, man, at 6'9", 6'10", 7 foot that we've seen in the NBA, period. Way and more prolific than Dirk Nowitzki. The guy movement at 7 foot is unnatural. The way he can shoot the ball, the way he can pull up, the way he can dribble, the way he can set guys up for that crossover. He's just totally a big time player. And finishing out the first team, Kawhi Leonard, who's been coming on strong the past 6 years. You know what I'm saying? Won the Finals MVP with the San Antonio Spurs back when they beat the Heat. Was able to get out of San Antonio and go to Toronto and win another ring where he won another Finals MVP. And now he's looking like he's wrecking shop in sunny California with the Clippers. So Kawhi Leonard is definitely a guy that needs to be mentioned with that first team. Second team all decade. We're going with Russell Westbrook at point guard. Mr. Average triple double, man. What can I say about Russell, man? He's the most exciting player I've seen this past decade. He is must see TV. Though with the amount of energy that he plays with on a nightly basis is second to none. He doesn't get tired. He's in tremendous shape and plays the basketball in a fan friendly way. At the other guard, we got Chris Paul. Like I said, man, being the steady hand at the point guard position for a number of teams. Always knows how to run the offense. Definitely is smart under pressure and is a very, 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 very savvy kind of player. Carmelo Anthony definitely deserves to be on the second team. Behind Harden, man, might be the most prolific scorer out of this whole bunch. You know what I'm saying? He is definitely a Hall of Famer. Not won many rings. Not you know what I'm saying. Not got the accolades of some of his counterparts. but he's definitely a Hall of Famer. He's big time scorer, plays the game at a high level, and is just very, 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 uh, very good. Shit, for lack of a better word. Blake Griffin. I mean, he had his run early on. Saying past 3 or 4 years, kind of been on the downslide for like Blake, but early on, man, he was the power forward that people looked at that people had to game plan for. He was the guy for the Clippers that people thought was a vocal point of their offense, and he was a guy that people game playing around. So he's definitely deserving to be on the second team. And coming in last, man, Anthony Davis. What can I say about Anthony Davis, man? Can do absolutely everything on the basketball court. Dribble, shoot, pass, block shot, play great defense, make free throws. Just an all around great, great, great player. And I think with him being with the Lakers on a good team, I think more people are going to start to realize how great he was. All-decade third team, LaMarcus Aldridge, mid-range assassin, back to the basket, over both shoulders, can score the ball on the block. He is definitely one of the best power forwards this decade. Maybe would have possibly liked to see Chris Bosh on the list, but due to injury and blood clots, he wasn't able to resume majority of his career after LeBron left. So that's tough for him. Dwayne Wade makes the team. He's Flash, absolutely deserved behind James Harden. Well, maybe be even in front of James Harden. Maybe the best shooting guard this decade. Won 2 rings with the Heat. Number of All-Star games. Has just been a terror. You know what I'm saying, in the NBA ever since he came in. Number 4 is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's definitely a good player. You know what I'm saying? He came on like later on this decade, so I can see why he's on the third team. Makes sense, you know what I'm saying? But he's definitely going to be a guy that we look into the 2020s as probably the best player of that 2020 decade. Paul George makes the team, you know what I'm saying? Definitely a smooth scorer, effortless scorer, silky smooth on the offensive end, and plays defense at a unbelievable high level. He is definitely deserving of being on this third team. I gotta say, Paul George is one of those guys that you want on your team. Can maybe not be the best player, but can definitely be a Robin to your Batman. And lastly but not least, farewell to one of the greatest NBA players to ever lace up his shoes, Kobe Bean Bryant, a.k.a. the Black Mamba. Not really a great decade for Kobe, but he's been been around. You know what I'm saying, retired a couple years ago. Retired on a high of 60 points. Was playing at a very high level until that Achilles injury that really, you know what I'm saying, set him back, and really, you know what I'm saying, did not show us the Kobe that we've been used to seeing for all those years. So Kobe, well deserving of being on the third team. If you got a gripe for somebody else, I mean, you know what I'm saying, I probably couldn't disagree with you, you know what I'm saying. Maybe another shooting guard had a better decade than Kobe, but yeah, man, that's pretty much my all-decade team reaction review. I think it was a solid team. At the bottom, I think it's much better than the NFL Top 100. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, if you want to support the channel, you can do so by right there. If not, smash that thumbs up button. Tell a friend about Mike on Sports, and we'll get to the next one. Till next time. Yes, sir.